In the very early days of a business, things are usually pretty simple, right? But as you grow, something absolutely inevitable happens. The complexity of your tech stack just skyrockets. What used to be this really straightforward operation suddenly turns into a massive, tangled web of intertwined software, hardware, and networks. So in today's explainer, we're going to break down exactly how modern IT support tiers work and how they structure themselves to handle all that growing complexity. We want to make sure your technology actually stays an asset and doesn't become a massive liability.
Seriously, we've all been there. In the beginning, you just naturally rely on a team member or literally a relative who's just, good with computers. They handle the ad hoc support, maybe they restart the router every now and then, but eventually you hit this massive tipping point. As the quote here says, you can no longer rely on your tech-savvy cousin to fix enterprise-level issues. And why is that? Well, because when you're operating at scale, a single locked-out email account or a disconnected server, it isn't just a minor inconvenience anymore. It creates a complete bottleneck that can literally stall your entire daily operation.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the tech bottleneck problem. Second, how IT tiers actually work. Third, untangling your spaghetti tech. And fourth, scaling without growing pains.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the tech bottleneck problem.
Ask yourself this: when an emergency actually strikes, who is solving your problem? If it's just whoever happened to set up the office router 5 years ago, you are walking a serious tightrope. And this is exactly where a structured, professional help desk becomes absolutely vital. Think about it. When a critical application goes down, you don't need a favor from a super busy employee. You need a system. You need a dedicated, around-the-clock team whose sole job is to keep your business running.
Moving on to Section 2, how IT tiers work. Okay, so a well-functioning IT help desk operates pretty much exactly like a medical triage system at a hospital. It's designed purely for efficient, rapid issue resolution. And that starts with Tier 1, the basics. You can think of these folks as the triage nurses of your IT hospital. This is the team that you and your staff are going to interact with on a day-to-day basis. They handle the high-volume, standard stuff. Password resets, basic software troubleshooting, the classic have you tried turning it off and on again questions, and yes, even getting that notoriously stubborn office printer to finally connect. Their entire goal here is rapid response. They just want to keep your team moving without skipping a beat.
But, sometimes a triage nurse needs to call in a specialist. And that brings us to Tier 2, advanced troubleshooting. Let's say an application is consistently crashing across multiple machines in your office. Or maybe there's this really complex software integration error that a simple restart just won't fix. That's when Tier 2 steps in. Armed with specialized diagnostic tools and way deeper system access than Tier 1, these guys are essentially the detectives. They're diagnosing the much more complex illnesses hiding inside your tech stack.
Finally, the escalation reaches Tier 3, infrastructure and security. These are your hospital architects and your neurosurgeons. Now, you'll rarely, if ever, speak to them directly on a daily basis, but they are the absolutely vital backbone of your IT health. We're talking network engineers and system architects handling the monumental, really high-stakes tasks. Things like severe network outages, total server failures, complex cloud migrations, and critical security breaches. They are the heavy lifters who keep the entire foundation of your business completely secure.
Which leads us nicely into Section 3, untangling your spaghetti tech.
So, as businesses grow, they naturally accumulate what industry folks like to call spaghetti tech. It's basically a chaotic web. You've got mismatched hardware just because things were bought piecemeal over the years. You have shadow IT, like, say, when a team secretly uses their personal Dropbox accounts to share sensitive client files just because it's faster. And of course, you have that terrifying web of undocumented passwords sitting on sticky notes hiding under keyboards. A professional IT partner steps in and transforms all of that spaghetti into managed tech. Everything becomes audited, it becomes standardized, and it's secured. This gives your business a single, incredibly reliable source of truth.
But how exactly do they clean up that mess?
Well, they do it through proactive help desk solutions. First off, they audit and document every single software license, hardware asset, and network configuration, putting them into one unified place. Second, they standardize everything. They ensure that every single employee is running secure, updated versions of the exact same core applications, so no more Wild West of completely different software versions floating around the office. And finally, they create a strict security baseline across your entire team. This means rolling out fundamental, non-negotiable protections like centralized password management and multi-factor authentication, or MFA.
All right, let's wrap things up with Section 4, scaling without growing pains.
Perhaps the single biggest mistake growing businesses make is treating their IT support as a static utility.
They view it kind of like the plumbing in their building, right? You only make a call when a pipe bursts, and you really only fix problems as they arise. But if you want to grow effectively, IT has to be treated as a scalable engine. When you're rapidly onboarding new team members, or maybe pivoting to adopt some massive new enterprise software, your IT support shouldn't be playing catch-up. It needs to flex dynamically to drive that transition smoothly.
When your tech stack is truly managed by a structured, tiered professional help desk, those day-to-day issues no longer stop you in your tracks. You actually have a partner handling the complexities so you just don't have to. You get to focus entirely on growing your business, knowing for a fact that your foundation is secure, scalable, and fully ready for whatever comes next. So I want to leave you with a question to really take a hard look at your own operations today. Is your current IT setup holding you back, or is it the engine driving you forward?